Hello, welcome to video number 2 of gun review for Nemtec. Here with Courtney, head tech. I'm Harry, I work on R&D for Nemtec, doing custom builds, 3D printing, just general ideas. I'll do the hardware side, Courtney will do all the teching.
Yeah, if I'm ever stuck on a 3D printing idea, or if I need sort of an engineering style mind just to refer to and just run it past anyone, I tend to go to Harry. We'll meet up, we'll have a pint and chat out an idea and figure out how to get around the problem. Like the current thing we're working on for Nemtec is the Grozer, which is a bullpup AK. Some people like it, some people don't. If you're familiar with PC gaming, especially games of old, Stalker Shadow of Chernobyl, your more Russian style Soviet bloc games, they had Grozers featuring quite a lot. So that will be coming up in the future, so keep an eye out for that. But that's not the bullpup we're on with today. We're actually on with Harry's...
My RDB.
Yeah, the RDB.
This was a very sort of influenced by from Courtney. It was more to, I don't know, a lot of people don't like the Keltecs, and I do. They're very, very different, aren't they? Yeah. Very different rifles.
The way Harry operates, if people dislike the rifle, I can guarantee Harry's going to want to buy one. And he's going to make my life a living hell when it breaks, because he gets the most awkward possible things. But, you know, the point of this video is we're going to do an initial review of, is the gun worth it, the price points, what they're going for, how they run out the box, whether we're impressed with them or not. My initial response as a tech to what I think the gun is worth and what the internals are like from what I've seen online. I won't actually go inside of the gun on the first review unless I'm already familiar with the rifle. So like this one, for instance, I've gone online, I've had a look at pictures of the gearbox, the sort of what kind of motors are in there, etc., how the trigger unit's set up, and we've already taken it out for one skirmish. That's normally how we operate, so we'll take it out for a skirmish so we can have an initial response. So how was your first skirmish with it? What did you reckon to it?
Well, after we cleaned all the cheese out of the hot unit.
Yeah, it was, yeah. Let's preface this. When I bought this one in for Harry through the business, what I always do, which I think most shops, some shops at least do, I hope they all do it, they'll get a brand new gun out of the box, me especially. I'll put some 2s and some 2.5s in there, put some 2s through the chrono, see what it's chronoing at, go check the hop on 2.5s, set the hop to 2.5s, come back in again and check again on the chrono to see what how much hop I'm having to apply, to see how much pressure I'm having to apply, to see how much it reduces the FPS and what the FPS is with hop and without hop for a 2.5. So when I chronoed this, the initial thing, it was firing at 300 or just over, and the accuracy was all over the place. I did find with a good barrel clean, with a little bit of isopropyl alcohol on the end of a cleaning rag, cleaned it right up, went back out to check it, and it was flying lovely and true. So I've found this very often with new rifles. If you ever have a problem with your rifle new out of the box, there's no such thing as a bedding in period, in my opinion from experience thus far. You often find when a rifle's new out of the factory or anything like that, you can have some excess silicon and dirt that's already got onto the rubber, that what they would call a bedding in period is BB's wearing that hop rubber clean. So what I suggest you do when you get one of these rifles out of the box is clean the hop and barrel first. Wind the hop on a little bit, and then just get a bit of isopropyl alcohol or a very, very weak solvent. Give the barrel a good clean, and then just use some clean cloth and keep going until it is absolutely spotless. Then test. That's the fairest way you can be with guns out of the box nowadays. I've lost quite a bit of faith in out the box guns being good, and that's just what I've come to expect nowadays. So the initial gameplay, what did you think of it?
I was really impressed for a stock gun. Again, if it had been tech, to be able to hop 2.8s, 3s, and obviously got much further with a tighter grouping. But out of the box, it was fun to play with. It's got the Ares MOSFET in it, so it's programmable and slightly quicker. I don't know.
The trigger response isn't bad. I mean, we plopped an 11.1 in it. It runs fine with an 11.1.
I just wouldn't expect it to last too long. By the end of the game day, it starts getting a bit screechy.
Yeah, that's one thing I've noticed. Another thing you might want to do when you buy one of these new out of the box is put a dab of Loctite. If you're happy with the sound of the motor, if you're familiar with the sound of motor height, etc., you'll want to just open the back up, get to the back of the gearbox where the motor adjustment screw is, and just put a little dab of Loctite on there, just medium strength to low strength, just to hold it. Now, Harry ran this for one day at a skirmish. It wasn't a particularly full day with it, because did you play with this all day?
Yeah, most of the day.
All right, fair enough. How many rounds would you say put through it?
It would have been a full bag of BBs, so a kg of BBs.
Yeah, about 3,000 BBs. You were running what, 2.5s?
2.5s, yeah.
Right, 2.5s. And the motor height has dropped, you can hear it. So what I'd probably suggest we do before the next game day is adjust the motor height and just put a dab of Loctite on just to get it to last.
It is sort of amplified with your head being right next to the motor, so with it being a bullpup, the motor's here, the hop unit's here, and the rest of it's barrel, which again gives it good range. It is a fairly short gun, so as opposed to the extended silencer.
Yeah, you put a quick detach suppressor with a aftermarket, and put a nice vector optic short dot on there, which looks lovely.
Fairly common on most of our builds. These vector optic sights are very good. You do it. It's a strange one because it's got a proprietary gearbox.
Yeah, it's a proprietary gearbox shell. The motor height, the motor angle is sort of there, and it's a short shaft motor, which is handy to know because you could probably put. I need to double check with them. I like the brushless motors, so with something like this, a build like this, I'd probably want to put a nice brushless motor in, shim the gears. The pistons on these are actually okay. They've got a full steel rack with an Ares piston. So you'd probably struggle to break one.
In the past, I've struggled with Ares bearings, aren't they? A bit.
The bushings they fit. If I'm not mistaken, an 8mm bushing, but the material they're made of is like a silvery steel, but I'm not sure what it is. It might have a bit of zinc in it or something. But it's the finest Chinesium, and they wear quite quickly, and they'll tend to let the axles move side to side, accentuating the noise in the gearbox. So if you're going to go in there and you probably as a rough upgrade list, a very rough one, bearing in mind I haven't been in the gearbox yet or looked at the MOSFET, I'd probably want to put a warhead brushless motor, probably a base motor in there. Nothing too fast, probably try and keep the current rate of fire. Shim the gears, change the bushings, change the piston head, and if I'm not mistaken, you've got a quick change spring guide in there. Yeah. You might have to change the air nozzle. I don't know if it has an O-ring on it.
Regarding proprietary parts, it's not
bad. Super proprietary. No, I mean we've noticed the hop unit is supposedly proprietary. We've not been in it yet.
No.
But there is a modification you can do to fit a standard V2 hop unit.
Or a max model.
Yeah, like we prefer the max models. How true it is, I don't know. We've read it online. When I come to the second part of the build video, which will be when this inevitably breaks because it's an Ares, I'll be inside the gearbox and I'll run through what's broke, at what stage it's broke, so how many game days we've had out of it, and I'll give you a build list over the video. So if you're thinking about buying one, you can follow the link to the what will eventually be hopefully sort of like a 3-part guide of the initial thoughts on one out of the box, how long it's going to be before you need a tech to look at it, and the third part of the video will be what we think the performance is like once I've put the upgrades in that I've recommended, and whether I change anything, and obviously in this case how Harry's response is going to be and how he thinks the gameplay's changed with the rifle. Because like for instance, you said you couldn't run a 2. We tried 2.8s on it, and it just wouldn't hop.
2.5s it was pretty happy with, but again,
and
not
really
ideal.
Most of the sponsored players like 2.8s. We tend to run the Warhead Industries BBs, the nice quality BBs.
Good sort of mid ground.
Yeah, they're not too expensive and they're consistent, which is all you need out of a BB. So yes, let's get onto the hop unit.
I was just good bits and bad bits. The good bits are for a bullpup, it's actually really comfy. I mean, first time you saw it, you thought, oh no, that's going to be really bad, but no, nice shoulder, grips quite comfy, you got rails top and bottom. There is a couple of stuff out there I want to do, maybe add some more rails, maybe
we saw there was a nice handguard you can get, which is an M-lock handguard, which makes it a lot thinner on the front. It's worth looking into. If you're not so sure about how chunky it is at the front, but you like the rough design, If you look for the M-lock, or I believe it's M-lock,
Yeah,
handguard,
yeah.
it'll make the front end a lot thinner, more of an AR M-lock sort of width.
So with that, it is £170, but we can do something similar as we have a 3D printer.
Yeah, at the time of the video, the front handguard is about 170 quid plus VAT plus postage. So that's worth keeping in mind.
Did we mention the price of the gun overall?
No, how much do you pay for it?
It's so recommended retail price £350. This comes with a large mid cap, and I say a small mid cap. It's not a low
It's
cap.
more of a
It's just
stubby low cap type thing.
Everything else doesn't come with the scope. Doesn't come with the suppressor.
It is like a sort of standard Stanag style M format.
Yeah.
We've tried the.
I mean, these are off patrol base.
Yeah.
Fairly cheap. And
We've
they
tried all
work
sorts
well.
of mags.
Yeah.
We've tried
I've
my
tried steel
P-mags, your steel. I've not found an incompatible mag yet.
So this is really good for lefties as well as, say, the charging handle, the mock charging handle, that can be flipped either side. The safety is on either side. The mag release is on the front, so you can grab it from either side. QD sling points either side.
It's a nice little ambi gun. And
and it's
at the price point of sort of £350, if you're willing just to
very
bear in mind
sensitive.
the hop unit is not the best to access. For £350, I actually quite
We'll get
like
on
it
to
as a
that.
starter gun. It's
So-
to mid to early starter gun. I quite like it. If you want a bullpup,
yes.
I actually don't mind it. My
Very
opinion might change in video 2.
After you've worked on it.
After I've worked on it, I might severely dislike it because it's Ares, but that's my bias to one side. So let's just go over the hop unit quick.
The bad bits then, I think the hop needs to be last. The battery space, even though it's quite big on the front, isn't the best. It's got these sort of rails on the inside, you can't fit quite thick batteries on. Maybe an AK stick type or something smaller.
Yeah, perhaps a small buffer tube.
And it's a bit of a faff to change. You take this pin out and pull it off and new
but
one.
not
and
with the
slot it
handy
in.
tool they provide you.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, Ares, for the Christmas cracker screwdriver.
The ultimate tool, the hop adjuster. So on these, to adjust your hop, is a small wheel in there. I'm sure editor will put photos on of me adjusting it in game and maybe a bit of a close up.
Yeah, if you, Greg, our lovely editor, will kindly put that really funny photo of Harry attempting to adjust his hop unit mid-game with a mag out, basically swearing at the ground, trying to adjust mid-game.
I've given.
Now, I can't.
The fact the gun comes with a screwdriver to adjust your hop, and solely for that reason, is a bit of a cop out.
Yes, it's a hard cop out,
Where-
but we have found a solution. Now we haven't discovered this. We found this online.
on
now-
Reddit.
Yes, Reddit, the font of all knowledge. If you can see on this back plate, there's some little Allen screws. Now, if you just remove these two Allen screws, you can lift the cheek pad up out of the way. Now, all we're going to do, as per instructions on Reddit, are you just cut a little square out here, which I'll do in part 2 video when I'm doing the rest of the teching, because I'm not going to touch it. Not going to take it apart and do dremeling and things like that until it's dead. And you just dremel a little hole here, and then you can access your hop up unit by just simply lifting the cheek pad mid-game, quick throttle, adjust how you need, whatever BBs you're running, however it is, pop it back down, and then you're good to go.
And you get to keep your Christmas cracker screwdriver.
Yes, and you get to keep. You might be able to use it for something else, probably 3D print something else to go in there. You could put a butt plate on and keep it as an emergency treat hole. I don't know, but anyway,
You can put your licorice all sorts in there.
yeah, you never know. You might need some emergency licorice all sorts. So, initial sort of reaction to the rifle itself. The battery space is limited, but not impossible. Treat it sort of like an AK upper receiver.
It's not as bad as something like an MP5.
No,
I'm guessing
yeah.
Ross's SIG was
Yeah,
quite small.
the SIG was hellish. That was terrible battery space.
Not that bad.
Compared to this is much easier. Plenty of rail space. You could always get some aftermarket rails or the M-lock handguard. and then you've got a bit more space for rails, things like that.
Overall quality though, the plastic.
Yeah, the build quality is lovely.
Is it nylon? It's like nylon fibre plastic.
Yeah,
it's a bit similar to a Scar L or.
I wouldn't say it's as plastic because it's like a hollow sound as a Scar L. It's a really nice, thick, sturdy plastic. You can't bend it. You can't manipulate it around a corner like some rentals. It's an overall good gun. Now, one thing I haven't mentioned yet, which is what I quite like, which is something I often find on a bullpup rifle, is your fire control group is very similar to an M4. And if I was just to stick it on semi-automatic, it's actually got a micro switch trigger at the front, so it's not got a long bar running through it to the back of the gearbox. It's not got a big mushy trigger. It's a nice crisp trigger pull, so if you want quick follow-up shots, it's not an impossible task. So far as a tech, my initial responses aren't horrendous. I don't like the hop unit and how it's laid out and how you have to adjust it with the Christmas cracker screwdriver, but the rest of it isn't bad. I can forgive a motor that's dropping back on a screw because that might just be a quality control issue, or we might have just got a bad one. We've not looked particularly on the common faults online yet, purely because
there's a lot of naysaying.
There's always going to be a lot of naysaying, and I tend to not do too much following of rumours and bits and bobs online until I've looked into it myself, had a few games, and we found the problem myself with the gun. So,
but yeah, overall, really happy. It was a really good purchase, and I bought it to anger our lovely editor Greg, and he ended up liking it, so that was a fail on my behalf.
It was worth it for the memes.
Yeah.
But it's not bad. I'd recommend one. But if you do buy one, it's an Ares. Make sure you know a competent tech, because you will have to work on it eventually. I cannot stress enough, the Ares gearboxes and the gearbox design is very innovative, but a lot of the parts these are outdated and subpar in cases. Any final thoughts, comments?
No, I can't wait to get more stuff on it and maybe a different handguard. I mean, it's only one piece. There may be something in development on CAD at the moment to go on there, but
yeah, we'll have a
let's
look.
just tinker. It's a tinkering rifle, but as we say, future projects will keep you updated as and when. We don't want to reveal we don't show all the cards at once, do we?
No, we'll keep the videos coming.
But Groza is definitely the first.
Yeah,
maybe some Californian rifle.
Yes, there might be a cheeky. The only nice thing to come out of California. Changed my mind. But anyway, yeah. Overall response, not bad at all. So keep your eyes peeled for part 2, which will be coming in. When do you reckon part 2 will be coming? Because it'll be based on when the rifle dies.
2 or 3 games.
You reckon 2 or 3 games? I give it a
with
game.
an 11-1.
No, I give it a game.
What?
We'll see.
After hearing that motor.
Yeah, after hearing the motor, I give it 1 game. As soon as that motor height drops, I'm going to be in the gearbox.
Okay,
so.
I'll use it next weekend and at Anzio.
Okay,
we'll see.
Fair play. We'll see how it goes. So keep your eyes peeled for part 2. And yeah, cheers guys.
And next time for part 3 gun review, which will be with either Dom, Kieran, or
yes, that's
Rebels.
Yeah, hopefully one of the other boys from Nemtac, one of the sponsored players, will get one of their guns on to give a review. I think we're going to aim at Ben's little Scorpion next.
Oh, the Scorpion Evo, the DSG.
We'll go for that next. Anyway, cheers guys. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe and all that.
Chin chin.
Yes, chin chin.
I've given